But I don't base my health off of my size. I base my health on valuing myself and the habits that contributed to it.
Do not take product if you are hypersensitive.
Oh, hey, Internet, and welcome back to the Intoxicated Podcast. I am your host, Sarah McClellan, and if you're brand new to this podcast, this is a comedy variety talk show where I get personal with comedians, creators, and characters. This week's episode is part 2 of my awesome conversation with TikTok star, content creator, educator, body positivity advocate, and future stand-up comedian, Alicia Mccarvell. In this second part, we really get into the self-love and body positivity side of things, and it is just wow. I really had my mind blown several times in this episode. There is so much to learn and consider in this part, and I truly hope it gives you a new and improved perspective on body positivity. A huge theme in this part is the idea of placing value in valuing yourself, because it's when you start to value yourself for all that you are, beyond your physical body, that you will naturally start to take care of yourself more because you know that you deserve that. I think that's just such a simple fact that people really, really forget. And also, when we start accepting and embracing all body types, we make it that much easier for those people with bodies that are constantly being undervalued by society and always facing repercussions for just existing. All I can say about this part 2, you guys, is TED Talk. I hope you're listening, because Alicia's message needs to be heard. She seriously is a thought leader. She's really contributing to changing how people think and helping so many people in the process. So, you gotta follow Alicia on TikTok and Instagram. You gotta do that. You won't regret it. She's amazing. And of course, you guys, if you enjoyed this podcast, if you like what I'm doing here on Intoxicated, consider leaving me an Apple Podcast rating or review. Or both. That would be amazing. It truly, truly, really does help the podcast out, and I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, if you're someone who is hopping in and you liked what you heard today, make sure you do subscribe on whatever app you use. You can also check out the Intoxicated YouTube channel, where I post video episodes and other fun stuff all the time. That is youtube.com/intoxicated. You can check out the Intoxicated Patreon as well. But of course, the best thing you can do is to just tell your friends and spread the word. Give the podcast a share on social media. You truly can't beat that. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy the final part of my conversation with the amazing Alicia Mccarvell. All right. What are the daily things you do to keep yourself loving yourself? Because we can say it, we can say that we love ourselves, but sometimes we're faking it. Sometimes there's things going on in words. And I know that like right now, self-work and self-love is like really huge, and a lot of people are doing it because quarantine, I think, made a lot of people do it. Yep. But do you have any daily like rituals or like daily routines that you do that like get you in this mindset?
I'm very lucky that right now I don't have anything that's daily. Like, I think I've done my daily work, so now my work then becomes, how do I deal with like my tough days, or how do I deal with my my off days? But daily, when I started, was my Love Me journal. So I've spoken openly about this, but when I lost my job and I took a year off to kind of work, 10 months off to work on myself. I got an iPad, I started drawing, I started writing poetry, I started creating. I got a Love Me journal, and I got one. I mean, I bought a journal from the dollar store, and I had seen people write positive affirmations like, you look great, or you're going to have a great day today. And I like those things are great. I think positive affirmations are important, but I was like, that's not how I feel. Like, that's not right. That's not how I feel.
It feels weird saying it when it's so against what you feel.
So I was like, I'm going to get a journal and I'm going to try really hard to write something in it about myself at the end of my day that I loved about myself.
Right.
So it didn't have to necessarily do with that day, but that was the easiest way for me to do it right away, because sometimes when you're faced with like your whole being trying to pick something you like about yourself, it can be very hard. So when I broke it down, so every day I would get home and I would sit with my journal and I would write something I liked about myself from the day. So you handled that upset customer really well. You were a great supporter for your employee today. You did a really good job of making sure you ate today. You did. So like I would just write, and sometimes they were just face value, like
you put on clothes.
Yes. So sometimes those are like, sometimes that is hard shit. Like that is.
Yeah.
So I would write, some of them would be that. And then all of a sudden some nights it would take me like 45 minutes, just like sitting with a pen and paper, like trying to come up. Sometimes I'd have to ask like Scott, like sometimes it just was not easy. And I think that that's the case for a lot of people. It's not an easy exercise to do. So I would write in this journal the things that I loved about myself, and then I'd sign it, love me. So I'd write, you did a really great job at handling that customer today. Love me. And so
you're like kind of writing little letters to yourself.
Yeah, essentially about ways that I actually felt. It wasn't this like false excitement about my day. It wasn't overly positive. But it was how I was feeling. And when I thought about my day, it's how I actually felt, but it was positive. So I just started doing that. And then all of a sudden I was left with like a book with,
oh my gosh,
150 great things about me. Like once you start reading them, it's like, I'm a great problem solver. I'm a great friend. I'm really good at giving advice. I have really fucking good hair. I like all of a sudden it was just this list of things that were great about me, and nowhere to be found was my size. Nowhere to be found was my body. Nowhere to be found. That's a lie. I have nice boobs. So like, I'm sure that was in there a few times.
But the things about your body were things about you loving your body.
Yeah. So, and then all of a sudden you realize, like for me, it was like, holy shit. Like I have 100 wonderful things about myself here, yet I hyperfixate on the fact that I don't like my body. So it was like this aha moment that I had allowed this one part about me to overshadow all of these great things about me, when realistically, like, let's talk about the one thing that I don't love about myself. Like, I didn't love my body, but my body is what holds and empowers and carries and lives for all of these other 100 things for me to exist. So in order for me to be a good friend, my body has to be there. Like in order for me to be a great problem solver, my body has to be there. So I spent so much time dwelling on it, when it's like, I just need to figure out how to focus on all of my great things and take care of my body, because that's what houses them.
It's the vessel. It's the thing that
it is the vessel that houses the great things about me. So it was like, that was a good turning point for me, like thinking about like refocusing my dynamic. You don't have to like your body. Like, you don't have to be content with your body. Like I know for me as a plus size, the actions and habits that I have right now are healthy. I'm exercising regularly. I'm eating good. I am taking care of my mental health, but I know that my body is not meant to be the size that I am right now. So I know I'm going to lose weight. I know that I know that I'm going to be, as I continue to live this lifestyle, I know my body's going to change, but I don't have to be, I think I look good because I like who I am, and my body is a part of who I am. So if you don't want to enjoy everything about me, then you don't get to enjoy it at all, type of aspect, I guess. Absolutely. Is how I kind of view it. So that Love Me journal was a very big part in kind of realizing how when you put all those things on a scale of like all of the great things about me and the things I didn't like about myself, I was like, okay, well, like we're heavily weighted over the things that are good about me. It just took me so much time to really dive into what was really good. And I think that that's hard for everybody. So when that started to change, I started dressing differently. I started allowing myself to do things I wouldn't typically do. I started not allowing my body to hold me back. And I went on a trip to Florida. I spent like 2.5 hours in the water on the beach with my husband, and we had never been to a beach in 12 years. And this trip, I had felt so empowered that I was like, I'm buying myself a fucking bathing suit. I'm going. I went. We had so much fun. And then I got to our friend's place that we were staying at, and I cried in the shower because I was like, you are so selfish. Like, you are so worried about how other people are going to view your body that you didn't allow you and your husband to enjoy going to the fucking beach together.
Right.
And like, how many photos did I not get in? How many times did I choose not to be a part of something? How many times did I not go downtown because I was feeling insecure about myself? So how many memories have I missed out on because I focused on my body, when realistically the people who want me to be a part of those things are focusing on this side. They're focusing on the great parts about me. I am fun when I go out. I do enjoy having a good time. I am a great partner. I create a lot of excitement in mundane situations. Like, there's so many great things, but my body was just so in front of all of them that it was so hard for me to kind of get past it. So yeah, that moment on the beach was like a big one for me because like I've always chose to be behind the camera. I've always chosen, I've always loved passionate moments and all, you know. At one point I was like, maybe I'll be a photographer so I can capture these moments of joy, but I never really thought about capturing my own moments of joy. And like, I think about like the moms who choose not to be in photos with their kids.
That's right.
Like, your kid doesn't fucking care. And it's so hard to get past that. I know that. Scott doesn't, the man has sex with me, so it can't obviously bother him too much, my size. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he enjoys me, he loves my body, he hypes me up, but I'm choosing not to go out with him to a beach because I don't want other people seeing my body. The man who literally loves me so much, who wants to enjoy me and be with me, I'm choosing not to allow us to have certain experiences because I don't want strangers to see my body.
You are so... I'm just now thinking about all the, like, literally what you said, pictures you didn't take, things you didn't
deleted.
Do. Like, I've canceled plans because I felt shitty about my body, and I was like, oh, I started stand up, and I started thinking about like, how do I look on stage? What do I wear on stage? And I wasted so much time like trying to find outfits that like would make me look a certain way on stage. And it's like, I should be focusing on my fucking jokes and having fun up there. What the fuck am I doing?
And especially with comedy, because nobody cares how you're dressed.
No, and here's the thing. I heard something recently that was like talking about just this, the idea of being selfish and focusing so much on like you and how other people don't notice the things that you notice. And it was like this anecdote of like, if a woman went to a store and spent all day there trying clothes on, and this sales rep helped her the whole day trying clothes on multiple outfits for hours. And at the end of the session, the salesperson went and asked her, she said, I've spent all day with you. What color was the shirt that I was wearing? And the woman didn't know. Yeah. Because she was literally only focusing on her. Right. And she didn't even notice what the other person was wearing. Yeah. Like, we are just so in our heads.
We're so in our heads.
And
it's one of those things that like, it's hard to fucking unlearn. We've literally been taught to feel a certain way about our bodies. Yeah. We see pictures and we see actors and models and people who are on the front of magazines, and we look at ourselves and we think we don't look that way, so that decreases our value. When realistically, and I talked about this on the Papaya podcast, we are the majority. Yeah. Women with stretch marks, women with bellies, women with small boobs, women with big boobs, women with bellies, women with or without butts. Yeah. Like, we are the majority. Mm-hmm. We're the majority. If we weren't the majority, if we were the minority in the situation, there would be far more there's more yes. Like, there's no,
that's, I mean, I've been on a journey with body stuff too. Like, it's just very, very, it's something I talk about on the podcast a lot. It's something that really does hold me back a lot of the times. And for me, a big moment for me when I started realizing how bad it was for other people and how challenging it is for other people was when I actually went from a size medium to a size large. And then I realized there was only maybe 1 or 2 sizes in the store that I was shopping in after me. And I thought to myself, well, shit.
Yeah.
There's people who can't even go to fucking Dynamite to get a fucking top.
Clothing,
you know, like,
and clothing sizes are shit anyways, and we beat ourselves up. Like, I remember vividly when a pair of pants didn't fit me and how much I beat my body up. Your body is not meant to fit in a certain size pair of pants. The pants are meant to fit your body. Those are 2 very different things. God, like, my body is not meant to fit in a certain size. The clothes are meant to fit my body. Mm-hmm. So why do I spend so much time trying to worry about what size I am when I just need to buy the size that fits my body? Like, we squeeze ourselves in. Right. Like, I used to squeeze, like, when I used to be like late 20s, like still going out and stuff, I would squeeze myself into these tight dresses and tight skirts, and I would just go out and I would be so uncomfortable. I would be so bloated and like just wanting, you know, that feeling like when you go home and you just want to like rip everything off. Yeah. But I was like squeezing myself because I couldn't accept going up to a large or going up to a medium. I mean, and that's the thing. A lot of people think, well, like if I squeeze myself into a large, I must be a large. Well, it's like, no, you're an extra large squeezing into a large.
That's right.
Or, you know, I'm a 2X trying to get my ass into a large. I'm just a 2X. And when I started like focusing on just dressing for my size, and mind you, it's difficult and there are hard days like for me with finding clothes that are like cute and don't have like bedazzles all over them. Like sometimes that's hard to do. But like when I started dressing how I felt, like when I started to love myself and I started dressing how I expected myself to feel, that was a game changer for me. And I posted a few weeks ago about 5 things that have helped me be more confident or helped me in my self-love journey. Mm-hmm. Clothing is one of them, because I used to use clothing to hide. So I was a size 2X, but I was buying like 3X, 4X, the loosest, baggiest clothes I could wear. But like this, I joked about on one of my TikToks, but my 3X shirt is not an invisibility cloak from Harry Potter. It doesn't make it go away. Just because I hide, just because the shirt that I'm wearing is big, doesn't mean my stomach no longer exists. Right. Like, I'm fat. I'm a fat woman, and I'm totally okay with that now. But before, I spent so much time hiding it, but I was still always fat. Like, that's, you're putting a Band-Aid over the problem. Yes,
like,
strangers were always going to view me as a fat woman. Like, it didn't matter if I wore a t-shirt but the difference was when I was wearing 3X or 4X or these big baggy clothes, I was trying to hide and I was building the shame around my body. When I started dressing confidently in things that I loved and enjoyed, that was me starting to actually feel power around my body and feeling confident, because I am fat. Like that's not a bad thing. Like that is not, it is not a bad thing. And my body has gotten me to this point. There is no reason for me to hate it for the things that it has gotten me through. Yeah. And I spent so much time being ashamed of it and spending so much time trying to change it and hide it that I couldn't take care of it. It was no longer about, I was making so many decisions out of hate that when I finally started making decisions out of love, that's when the biggest changes started to happen for me. Because those are 2 very different things. Like when you think about the things that you would do to somebody you hate, and you think about the things that you would do for somebody that you love, those are 2 different feelings.
Different things, yeah.
So when you hate your body, when I was doing a bikini competition, I hated my body. I was doing anything and everything I possibly could to not look the size I was. I was eating the exact same thing every day. I was at a calorie deficit that is unheard of. I was eating no fats. I was binge eating every single Saturday to the point where I literally couldn't move. I was taking peptides that were injectable. I was taking drugs that are meant for horses. I was taking weight loss supplements that are illegal.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Because I hated my body.
Yeah.
Now, if you were to ever give me anything that would do harm to my body, that decision would be different because I love my body. So I'm going to choose wisely what I put into it because it's got to fucking get me till I'm 80. It's got to get me to the important events of my life that it's got to take me camping with my nephew. It's got, it's got to give me experiences. I'm not going to risk it for a quick fix to something that's not broken. Gosh. It's just
dropping the it's so fucking and I heard something recently about how when with like diets and stuff and like the things that we do to get that quick fix or to get that instant result or the instant weight loss or whatever it is, we're so stressed and like we're so focused on getting there that like the stress doesn't actually help like your body at all chemically, like it's, the actual
your cortisol levels.
Yeah, like it's not gonna help at all.
It's funny because here's the thing. We're so fixated on changing our body that we view it as a race and that we can get to that finish line and that's it.
Yeah.
Runners get to the finish line, they stop running, and that's it for them. They're done their race. Caring for your body is not a fucking race. Getting it healthy, caring for it, maintaining it, finding an exercise routine that works for you, that is not a race. You can race to get there quickly, but you are completely naive if you think that race doesn't continue after that finish line for your body.
Yep.
And that is the problem, is so many people put so much stress on getting to a size as quick as possible that we devalue the fact that we're doing good things for our body. And it's very similar. Exercise is very similar to how I felt about myself, is that if you were to weigh out the reasons that I was exercising to lose weight versus all of the other benefits of exercise, we're sitting like this.
Right.
But everybody hyper fixates on the weight loss part of things and forgets about the 90,000 things that are good for you in terms of exercise. And when you don't hit this thing, the rest of it's just out the door.
That's right.
And that's not why you exercise. You don't exercise to lose weight. And that's been a big part of my journey. And this last year has been super impactful for me, is associating exercise with weight loss. Because a lot of people, I exercised all through junior high and high school, like through the sports that I was playing. I was in Taekwondo. I was super active, but I never considered that exercise. That wasn't exercise. I was enjoying those things. So I just did them. I loved going to basketball and I loved, I enjoyed that stuff. So then when I started university and I could no longer be active that way and I put on 25 pounds, I started working out to lose weight because I put on 25 pounds. I didn't start working out because I needed to be active because I now had no more avenues to be active. My fitness journey started immediately with wanting and needing to lose weight.
And you had a number too. Did you have a number in mind?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So it's like I transitioned from being physically active all of my life to not being physically active, to gaining weight, to then choosing to exercise to lose weight. So all I've known is that the gym is to lose weight. So when I finally realized that, like, no, you just need to fucking move your body because you should, and because it's good for you, then now that has completely changed my whole dynamic. If I have a shitty day, I go work out and I don't do things I don't like. People are like, you're fat, you should be on a cardio equipment. And I'm like, okay, but I don't like cardio.
Yeah.
And I got to do this for the rest of my life. So why would I do things that I don't like? You're picking things that you can implement for the long term. Yeah. And I mean, people do this. And you can associate this with other things in the world. Like there are people whose parents raise them and tell them you're going to be a really great doctor, or all of your families are lawyers, so you need to be a lawyer. But like, that's not what you're passionate about, but you spend your life doing it because you feel like you have to. And then the same thing with exercise. I don't enjoy doing cardio, but I spent so much time doing cardio that I ended up hating cardio. Right. So like as a society, need to focus on doing more things that we love and choosing those things over the things that we don't like because we feel like they're necessary. So I don't do cardio. I just lift weights. I don't weigh myself. I I don't hinder the foods that I eat. Like if I want to have a burger, I'm going to eat a burger because I could get hit by a car 3 days from now. And
thank you. I was going to bring up because it pissed that whole pizza thing.
So many.
Okay, so Alicia and Scott posted this like the cutest video of them like eating a pizza in the car, which by the way, like I saw that and I was like, this is my ideal relationship. Like for so many reasons, you guys are like my OTP, like this is what I want. But like I saw that and it literally brought me so much joy seeing like two people just enjoy pizza together. And you can't fucking do that without getting like,
I know, yeah.
Like
literally like your lifestyle is unhealthy. And I'm like, what in the flying fuck? Because like you don't see anything else that I eat. Like you don't see anything else about my lifestyle. Meanwhile, if you actually, but the problem is a lot of people make their comments and don't actually vet who they're making the comments for, which is the other part of things too. Like a lot of people just jump to conclusions. You see, that's why I made that post, because me eating pizza doesn't make it unhealthy because I'm fat. It doesn't. It doesn't. Foods aren't foods aren't unhealthy. They're going for a drink is not unhealthy, but the amount that you consume and the frequency that you consume it is then what can turn things unhealthy. To be unhealthy. That's for right. You. And that's where we have to like draw the line. First of all, none of your fucking business. If you don't know me and you're not in my family, shouldn't bother you. But and if you're actually a friend and family member of mine and you're worried about my health, and that's one thing, but like a stranger on the internet is a whole other thing. But me having 3 slices of pizza with my husband in my car is not unhealthy, but you view it as unhealthy because you saw a fat person doing it. Because if a skinny woman was sitting in a car, they'd be like, oh, she's living her best life. Yes. Yeah. Completely different. So, and I think that there's a lot of stigma with that in general, health in general, and body positivity and just all of that stuff is like fat women can't be healthy, but that's because society views health as a size. That's right. And health isn't a size. It's not a size. That's what allows thin women to go struggling and fat women who are thriving to be belittled, because there are thin women who are struggling every day with eating disorders and addiction, and but
they could be in poor health too. They could have other issues.
People don't give a fuck because they look healthy. But then you have fat women who are treating their bodies with respect and eating the things that I eat what I want to. So it really doesn't matter. But like I treat my body with respect. I'm at a point where I have the most respect for my body than I've ever had in my life. If you add up my health, my habits, and this is how I'm trying to find a way to like articulate it so that people understand, is that health is not a size. Health is made up of your habits and the things that you do for yourself. And once people start to shift their mindset that way, then they'll realize that you can't see health on the outside. Because if you looked at me 5 years ago, my unhealthy habits far outweighed my healthy habits. Right. I was unhealthy. Right. At that point in my life, that did contribute to my weight gain and my stagnancy in my weight at the point. But if you look at me now and I were to list my things, my healthy habits that I have in my life far outweigh my unhealthy habits. Therefore, I am healthy. Yep. I am healthy. Yeah. So that's the part where it needs to be viewed that way, because it's like you don't get to walk into my profile after all of the work that I've done for myself and the things that I do for myself on a regular basis now and tell me that I am unhealthy just because I'm fat. So basically what you're telling me is that fat women don't deserve respect for the healthy habits until they're thin. And that's the problem with viewing health as a size. Can your size contribute to your health? Sure. For some people it does. And we're talking like extreme levels of things. But if we actually go back to like, this is why I preach self-love in general, is that, do you know how unwelcoming the world is for fat people? Yeah, exactly. It's super unwelcoming. Yeah. You can't buy clothes everywhere. You have to do different types. Like my body holds me back from certain things. And in general, it is not a welcoming world for a fat person. And you learn that way on to devalue your body and yourself based on your body. And then people don't want to take care of them because you hate yourself.
That's right.
So why would you invest in yourself?
Yeah.
I don't like it. So I'm going to do my regular 9 to 5 and I'm not going to invest in who I am. So if we spent more time making the world's more welcoming for people of all shapes and sizes, then the fat women that you don't like on the internet would have the confidence to take care of themselves earlier on in their lives in general, because they would value who they are.
Yeah.
But you turn 15 and you learn your value based on your size. Yeah. So when you're told that because you're fat you don't have value, why would you want to take care of that?
It's this vicious fucking cycle.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where when we're talking body positivity and we're like talking about that movement in general, people are so confused because people see fat women existing happy and they're like, you're fat though, you're gonna die, like you can't, this isn't a good movement because you're condoning obesity. And it's like, no, I'm not. Like, when's the last time you watched my content and thought you wanted to get fat? Because people don't. The majority of the comments and messages that I give from my followers is thank you for helping me like who I am so that I can move my body because I want to. Thank you for showing me that I am a valuable human being. So the problem in the plus size community isn't the body positive people telling them to continue to be fat. The problem is the rest of the world telling them that it's not okay to value who they are. And to me, that's the important part about body positivity, is that you, as the society needs to change the way they view and speak about bodies in general. That goes for big bodies, little bodies, disabled bodies. That goes for bodies in general and for everybody. So people get confused with the body positivity movement because they think that it's I'm well aware that I am fat. And if you go through every single one of my content, I don't say it's healthy to be overweight. I don't say that because for some people it's not healthy to be overweight. For some people it is. But I don't base my health off of my size. I base my health on valuing myself and the habits that contributed to it. But a lot of people don't feel valuable enough to do those habits.
That's right.
Which can contribute to weight gain and being in a position like we seem to forget that people have other shit going on. We live lives. Women are raising children and they're working shitty jobs and they're giving to every other person in their lives that they don't even sit back to realize that they're a valuable human being and they deserve time alone. They deserve to do things for themselves. And I think that a lot of the issue with health in general is that nobody asks a fat person how they're doing. Mm-hmm. Nobody says to a fat person, how are you doing? Mm-hmm. What do you need help with? Right. Anytime anybody's ever addressed my size, it's, you need to start exercising. You need to start doing this. It wasn't until I started to actually work on my mental health and how I physically or how I mentally felt about myself that any change has happened for me. But people don't look at fat women and men and think, how's their mental health? They look at them and think they're fat, so they must be unhealthy, and let's work on their physical health first. Yeah. When I would beg, and don't get me wrong, moving your body is important, and I will always preach that. You need to get out and move your body in general, because your body is what houses everything that is great about you, and you need to take care of it. But sometimes the issue isn't the movement, the issue is how you feel. And for me, nobody ever sat down and said to me, how are you? Yeah. They said, you need to work out more. Right. How do you feel about yourself? Where are you at in your life? How do you, and I think that that's the bigger problem here is how do you feel about yourself? Do you value yourself? Because if you don't value something, you're not going to invest time in it.
You won't, and you won't keep up with it.
You don't. You don't invest, and it creates hostility, and it creates this shitty relationship. And until people value who they are, and that encompasses their body, they're not going to want to move it and take care of it. So, and that doesn't go for every that does not go for every plus size person in general, because there are plus size people that are just meant to be plus size. Like it just in general, like I will never be a size 2. I won't. Like that'll not be my life. Like I'm assuming that I'm probably going to sit at a solid size 14, 16 as I continue on with my journey. That's where I remember feeling the most comfortable and most confident when I was on my original weight loss journey. But even then, for me to view, if you picture what society views 16 and 14 sizes as, right, so it's like that's still not going to be enough for the way people view health and the way people view that journey in general. So I think that the body positivity movement gets a bad rep because people think that I'm out here saying, oh, I'm fat and it's wonderful, but I'm fat and I like who I am, and that's okay. Like
that's what it is.
You don't have to hate yourself thin. You don't have to.
No.
You have to move your body because it's important for you to take care of who you are, but you don't have to hate yourself thin. Like you don't have to hate who you are to get to a point that society thinks you look good. That's not how this works. And you don't have to be a certain size to do certain things. You don't have to be a certain size to have, for women, have, your ideal partner like you. You don't have to be a certain size. You have to value who you are and like who you are and put that out into the world. And that's what I think is the hardest part for a lot of women in general, regardless of their size. God. It's just like focusing and hyper focusing. And that's been the biggest part of my, like, having a platform, is that I have women of all sizes. Mm-hmm. And being completely honest, I thought that a lot of the insecurities that I felt as a fat woman were specific to being fat, but they're not. Every woman has an insecurity. Every woman. Oh my
gosh, it's so true.
Every woman. But that's the difference between self-love and body positivity, is that every woman is on a journey of self-love, but not every woman feels the repercussions of their body size. And that's where the body positivity movement comes in, is that it's changed the language and the language and the stigma around body sizes and disabilities in general. So that's where that kind of differs for me, is I just happen to be a plus size woman, so I fall into kind of both categories.
Right. That's so right. Oh my gosh. TED Talk. Contact Alicia, please.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
This was her practice. Intoxicated was her practice for her TED Talk. I can totally see you doing a TED Talk. I'm just saying, I'm just going to put that out there.
Mark that down. I'm going to play that on my intro and be like, here's my TED Talk. Sarah called that first.
I called that shit. I don't know. I mean, obviously you know what you're talking about because you've been on this journey for so long. And like, and the idea, like, just, putting value on valuing yourself is something that we have to do more.
That's just universal.
Yeah. Because the other thing too is with body positivity stuff, like something that, like, I think as women, and if you have like a group of girlfriends, like, we all know the picture time. The camera comes out and we have to take a group picture, okay? And it's this psychological minefield of all these girls just like, we're sucking in and we're like posing certain ways.
I'm going to find you a photo right now.
Oh, please do.
Which was like the bane of my existence in this exact world of being like fat in a thin world for me. It might take me a second to find
but it's also it's like what you said, like every woman has an insecurity, and like I find if you're friends with people who are larger than you and you complain about your body, a response that I used to get a lot was like, but look at you, you're so much thinner than me.
Yeah.
And
well, there's a lot of devalue. There's a lot of devalue there, but there's also a lot of insensitivity the other way too. Like, but I think that's the difference between self-love and body positivity. Yeah. Is that me as a fat woman, if I'm in an environment and a thin friend says to me, oh, I look so fat in this shirt, I'm like, okay, give me the shirt and I'll show you what fat looks like in the shirt. And I know my friends will tell you that I've said those exact words because I will actually show you what fat looks like in that shirt. But an insecurity and not feeling good should never be it's not my job as a woman to devalue how you feel about your body.
Yeah.
But there's also the other side of things is that like you have to understand also the severity of what plus size women go through. So if you have a plus size friend, like it is part of your life to understand the things that they do go through and the stigma that is against them and those types of things. But my job as a plus size woman is not to devalue the insecurities that you have about your body, unless you're going to use my body shape to devalue yourself. That's where I draw the line. So if you're going to say, oh, I look fat, or oh, I'm so fat, it's like, well, no, like you're not going to use my body type to devalue yourself or to feel bad about it. Like you can feel bloated or you can not feel good in your body, but like you're not going to say, oh, I feel so fat.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's where I kind of like draw the line on that stuff. But and I've had that conversation because there was a TikTok that was posted about it, and people were coming at it. And that was one of the ones I had to turn the comments off because of assholes on the internet. But it was just me saying like I've been fat my whole life. Like fat's been used against me, you know, to make me feel bad and to make me shitty. Like the sound was, I'm skinny but I'm fat. I'm skinny, but I'm fat. Like that was the sound. And I'm like, there are thousands of other words in the dictionary that you can use to describe how you feel when you're bloated or you're not feeling good in your body or you're not. But when you're comparing being skinny to being fat, you're dehumanizing yourself with my body shape.
That's right.
Which just dehumanizes every fat person on the planet.
A great thing you can say, this is what I say, is I'm just not feeling myself tonight.
Yeah. And that's totally
That's
okay.
what I say. I just say, like, I'm not liking what's going on.
Yeah.
And that could be in regards to
every
anything.
human being is allowed to not feel good in their body. You're allowed to not feel good in your body. We're literally wired to not feel good in our body based on the things that we see. And that goes for every size, because my friends aren't the size of models on the TV screen. And that was like a big moment for me. It's like, I'm definitely not the size of models on the TV screen, but like neither are my friends. So like the majority of my friends, like they don't look like that either. So like if I'm feeling insecurity because of that, so are they. Like that's not any less valuable because I'm fatter. Do you know what I mean? Like that's not any less valuable because I'm fat. And that's where the self-love part comes into my community, and that's more so where I feel like I preach the most, because that's where I feel the most confident in. Body positivity obviously is something that I'm passionate about, but I'm obviously thrown into that part of things because I'm fat. So like it naturally just becomes part of my platform. And I do agree that the stigma and the rights of all bodies are important, and we need to change that. But my passion for myself is all women of all bodies, and I'll never devalue how a thin woman feels versus how a plus size woman feels, unless the discrepancies are coming from like their rights and the things that do change for people with disabilities and plus size women and certain things. So but this might take me too long.
I want to see this group picture.
But it's literally
it's such a psychological thing.
Such a psychological thing. And do you know what's funny? I might have untagged myself in this photo, so that could even be funnier.
Oh no.
So, okay, no, this one.
Oh,
okay.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Okay. So
I'm already getting triggered by seeing it.
I know. Okay, so this is my little sister.
Yeah.
Okay, and I am like, mind you, these are my sister's friends. So they're 2 years younger than me. Some of them are 3 years younger than me. But my sister's friends are beautiful, incredible human beings. So I want to preface that with this. And this has nothing to do with them or their bodies. But this photo was taken, and I knew before I even got into the photo how I was going to feel when the photo was taken. So like, that's my sister. These are her girlfriends. And that is me on the side. And you look at that photo, and I know I'm twice, me and my sister are wearing the exact same fucking thing, and I'm twice the size of her.
Right.
Like I'm just on the opposite side of the photo. And like now when I look at that, I feel good. I love my red hair. But I was not in that place when this like photo was taken. That's not who I was. So it was like that scared part of like, how do I alter my body? Like, I can literally put myself in that position of like, how do I alter my body so that I'm sideways, so you can only see half of me, so that I'm like angled, so that you can't see too much of my like fat stomach. And like, I mean, big, huge black flowy shirt,
Right.
like that emphasizes how nice my tits are. Like just like those are the things I used to think about. But that's because I was basing my value off of the people who I'm going out with.
Comparison.
Or yeah. Meanwhile, this is like that was 2017, 2016, and then meanwhile this is how things have like kind of changed for me, and it's the same group of girls, all incredible, but out for a birthday party, and let me see if I can find it. And so this is me out for my sister's bachelorette. And like I'm in a mini skirt and it's a belly top, but it doesn't look like a belly top there, but like completely different person in terms of how I held myself. Like that's not something I would typically have worn back in the day going out for my sister's bachelorette, but I felt so differently about myself at this point that like my clothes were starting to reflect that, and I wasn't hiding behind.
You weren't hiding yourself.
People.
Because you were learning to love learning to love yourself.
So like it was just very, very dynamic. Like I'm the biggest person in this photo too, except for I remember taking this photo and the feelings that I felt here versus the feelings that I felt in the other one were completely different.
I feel like this should be a TikTok challenge. Like let's find a group picture where you were totally insecure, and then find a group picture where you were loving yourself.
And I mean, like all of the similar girls, like that's my sister, but that's completely different. And like I wore a bikini and I was part of those things, and like it's just my dynamic on how I view it has just changed, because I want those memories. Like I want to remember going out with my friends and having a good time. Okay, that's the outfit I wore out with the same girls 2 years later.
Yeah.
So like it's just like that's what happens when you change. My body hadn't changed, but my brain did. Like my brain had changed about how I felt about my body and clothes, and how I felt about being around thin women, and my value around that, because I think that that's sometimes hard for plus size women, is that vulnerability that comes along with being with thin women and around thin women,
like in a group picture.
Yeah. And not even just in general. I know that how I felt going out with my thin friends downtown, or how I felt, like I know nobody's looking at me in my mind. Like nobody's looking at me. But now it's different. Now I'm like, I'm going to wear the fucking cutest outfit. I am going to demand your attention. Like you're going to want to look at me, because I'm going to be having so much fun, and I'm going to be living my best life, that you're going to have no choice but to want to be a part of it. God damn. But like, but it takes a long time. Like
you're choosing, really what you're doing is you're choosing happiness. That was like something like huge that like I've kind of come to terms with as well, with mental health and stuff, which is like, 33. It's time to be happy.
Yeah, it's
like
time,
literally,
time to not give a fuck.
It's time to do the things.
Part of the growth, like that is a huge step for a lot of people in general, is just learning to let go of caring about other people.
Yeah.
Like, and how they think and how they view you. Like, because we, like, in general, like, aside from size, if we're talking self-love, humans in general hold back how they want to act and how they want to feel, because they're afraid of not being accepted by others. In general, it's how you're just taught that, you're made to feel that way. Mm-hmm. So then you get to a point in your life where you've been holding back who you truly are, or not doing things because you're afraid of how people might see you. And like for me, like choosing not to go to university was big, because I had to get over how my parents were going to have to view that. So that was a big step for me. But a lot of people continue on with school and
because they think that that's expected of them. Yeah.
Because they do truly fear what happens. So like being able to let go of the expectations of others and live your life the way you want to live it is a big part. It has been a big part of my journey too. Like people are going to think what they think. They're going to, and that is no harm to them either. Like, unless they're a really shitty human being. But like, we also have to remember that the society that has built itself for me to feel bad about being plus size is also built the society that makes people not like plus size women and men in general, right? It's the same society.
Yeah.
The difference is I just happen to be the plus size person and other people just happen to be the thin person.
Right.
So the same society that's built this idea that plus size people don't hold the same value as thin people is the same society that these thin people have grown up living in and learning in.
Yeah.
It's not their faults a lot of the time, but that's where the body positivity movement comes in, because it's about educating and it's about changing that dialogue and it's about having conversations and changing the views on plus size bodies and disabled bodies and just bodies in general, so that imbalance that society has created starts to even itself
out. Yeah.
Right? So it's like,
yeah.
And that was a huge growth part for me, to be like, I can't really hold this against a lot of people. Like, I can't really hold it against. I mean, I can hold you accountable, but I can't hold it against you.
Right.
That you feel that way, because I've been feeling that way about myself for the last 27 years.
Right.
So why would I expect that you would feel any differently?
That's exactly.
So if I can't accept myself and value who I am because I'm plus size, why would I ever expect you to do that? So then now I do expect you to do it. Like, now that I have figured out that it is possible to respect myself and who I am as a plus size person, now it's like, if I can do the work, which is a lot fucking harder for me because I actually am the plus size person.
That's right.
Then you, as a straight sized person living in a world that you can go into a mall and get everything that you need and you're accepted and people don't hold your body against you, it should be easier for you to accept me.
Right.
So it's like, if I can do the work, then
so can you. Do
like,
the work.
Because it's going to be a lot less harder for you.
It's like what I was going to like compliment you on, which is like, it's emotional for me, because you are an inspiration in the sense of like you did it. Like you fucking, you like exactly what you said. You had all these obstacles that I don't have personally. Like,
yep.
I can go into stores and buy clothes still.
Yep.
And you are loving yourself. You are being healthy. You are and so you are an example of, you can fucking do it, and anyone can do it. And it's just
work. Like, it's just work, and it's work that doesn't end. Like, I still have bad days. Like, I still
What do the bad days look like?
Honestly, I've really started to change, because I get the question, how do you deal with your bad body days? And I changed that wording to just bad days, because like my body is not bad.
Your emotional state is bad.
Right.
And that probably has a lot of things
and like
going
people
on.
Don't realize that, like, I didn't eat properly the day before, or I didn't sleep properly that night, or I got in an argument with my husband and I'm still annoyed, but it's easier for me to take that out on my body, because I spent 27 years doing that. It's
like a weird comfort level.
Oh, yeah. And it's way more acceptable, because it's way easier for me to lash out on my body, because I have no repercussions from that, because it's me. So when you lash out on the people you love, or you lash out on, and it's like that saying that typically people lash out at the people they love the most, because it's the easiest and it's the most comfortable, and you feel like you can get away with it. It's because they gotta love you. Like, so me lashing out on my body is like, you gotta deal with me, because tomorrow I'm gonna wake up in this body. So if I lash out on it today, then that is what it is. So for me, it's been a lot of like recognizing why I'm feeling that way, to remove the association with my body. Mm-hmm. Like, am I really upset about how I look in these jeans, or am I just tired? Like, am I really upset about the way this crop top fits me? Am I really like viewing myself as terribly as I am, or am I just do I just need to fucking eat food? And
oh my god,
and it's just how I've always taken things out, is on my body. So when I'm having bad brain days, is what I like to call them. Yeah, I like to figure out why and try to figure that out, because sometimes it's not my body. It's just I look at it in the mirror and I'm like, well, fuck you then, because I'm in a bad mood. So I'm gonna take that out on you. And then I just find ways to kind of essentially distract myself from it. How you would handle any bad day. You have a bad day at work, you come home and you do a face mask, or you take a bath, or you do something for yourself. So self-care has obviously, and I have talked about this, been something that's been important for me because it's not something I dove into or did ever. Getting my nails done, booking a fucking hotel room on a random Friday night with my husband to just do nothing.
Love it. Yeah.
Is just something that's makes me feel good. Or like going and getting my makeup done, or a face mask with my husband, or a face mask by myself, or a bath in a bath bomb in the bath that I probably only sit in for 15 minutes, but it's still makes me feel good.
Yeah.
So it's like those, I try to change that terminology from bad body days to just bad days. Bad days that I take out on my body. And those are two very different things. And I just let them be days, because everybody's allowed days. Yeah. You're allowed to feel shitty. Like, we look at the world that we're living in right now, and the things that we've had to adapt and change, and the family we haven't been able to see, and the things we're not able to do, and how our world has changed, and what's going on in our world. You're allowed to feel shitty some days. Like, you're allowed to get up and be like, yeah, today is not my day.
Yes.
Like, today is just not a good, but how you handle that is what is most important, and who you take it out on, and how you fix it so that days don't become weeks, don't become months, don't become your life. And like, that's where I think things can be pretty hard. But I rarely have bad body days anymore. It's just I'll have a bad day that I'm like, today I'm going to wear a long shirt because seeing my belly is just going to make me angry. And that's not my belly's fault. That's just where my head's at today.
That's just where your head's at. That's just where your mental space is.
Right. Yeah. And that's just where I'm at. And just accepting that as not my body's fault. Like, same thing with my husband. Like, when I say things like, I'm going to wear a long shirt because it's going to hide my belly and that's going to make me mad, is the same thing as me saying, I'm not going to see my husband today because if I see him, it's going to make me mad and I'm going to lash out on him. And it's the same thing. The difference is it's my body and not a tangible human being. And everybody has those days. There are days I know people are like, yeah, I don't need to see my spouse today. I don't want to see him because he's going to piss me off, or I don't want to see her because I'm just going to lash out at her because I'm angry. And it's just respecting those boundaries to be like, I realize that I'm taking it out on you. And a lot of people, like, if you do take it out on somebody, you sit down and you apologize. Like, if I do take things out on my husband, I sit down and I apologize. So if I do spend a day taking it out on my body, I apologize to my body, because it's not my body's fault. And you need that release, and you need that acceptance back, because my body tomorrow is going to, like, just like my husband is going to wake up tomorrow and it's still going to have to carry me around. Scott's going to wake up tomorrow and he's still going to have to be my husband. So it's like, you have to apologize and mend that relationship so that you can continue on living and being. So it's, they're hard, and I still have them. I have them all of the time. Like tonight, one of the things that I did is I looked at your podcast videos to see how high I was going to be sitting up in the chair, to see how much of my belly would be showing, based off of if I wore a crop top or if I didn't, and how my belly was going to look on camera. And like, I know for me, that's just because I've had a really long week and I felt super stressed out. And for me, if I saw that and the podcast came out after spending so much time and feeling so good about it, and it came out and I was having a bad day, I would dwell on that. And that would ruin everything for me. Like, that would make me feel bad. But I'm not thinking, on any other day, if I was having a really good day, I wouldn't have even thought of that. I just would have worn whatever I wanted. You
also have the foresight to know what you're going to dwell on and what's going to make you feel shitty later.
And it has nothing to do with my body, because we're on camera and my belly's still here. Yeah. But
it was your mental state.
Right. It was where I was at when I was thinking about it and I was going through things. So like, but it's not my body, because my body is fine. My body is doing great. We're rocking this thing called life right now, but it's the easiest thing for me to take out my frustrations on, because it's been here and will be here for the rest of my life and has no choice.
We need to treat ourselves kind of like computer updates every now and then, like when you're like, my computer tonight acting up, like we have to check in with those things, like what you said, like, did I eat, did I sleep, did I take space away from social media for a bit? Like,
do I have enough capacity to deal with what's going on right now? Like,
our batteries are constantly like getting drained.
Yeah.
And I feel like such a huge thing with learning to love yourself and value yourself is checking in with yourself.
Yeah.
And it's something that a lot of people don't do, and we forget about. Like, I don't know about you, but like, I've had days that I've been so busy and stressed out that like I literally forget to eat, and it's not because I'm not hungry. It's literally just because I put other things on that priority list from our basic fucking needs, which is eating, drinking, sleeping.
Yeah, me too. I
like,
do, and that's
drinking water,
which is so funny because a lot of people look at fat people and think you're fat because you overeat. But for me, for the last like 2 years, when I was working for the company that I was working for, I wasn't overeating. I was undereating. I was going like 11 hours sometimes without actually consuming food because I was so preoccupied with the other things that I was doing, not taking lunch breaks. But a lot of people don't realize that if you starve your body long enough,
it'll bloat.
No, your body can contains your fat because it thinks you're dying.
Right.
Our bodies are built to survive. So when you starve yourself or you're not eating enough food, it conserves the fat that you do have because that's what you need to live off of. So if you go long enough starving yourself, that's why starving yourself doesn't work for losing weight for anybody, anybody in general. That'll never work. You will perish before you lose weight.
Right.
Like, to be very clear on that. You will not die skinny. You will die because you haven't given your body the nutrients and it's tried to keep itself sustained. So like which is a funny misconception because when the person said that to me about the pizza, I really wanted to write down my calories for the day so that people could understand, but I don't like to dwell in that world because I don't like to set triggers for anybody who does count or don't. And I don't count my calories. But the irony in that is that the person was telling me that I was unhealthy because I was eating pizza. But that day, what I was actually unhealthy for is not eating. So I had gotten up that morning and I had 2 eggs and 2 hash browns and 3 pieces of turkey bacon, and I didn't eat another single thing until that pizza came. Right. So at this point, I've consumed 575 calories. Yeah. All day. Yeah. In a body that needs far more than that to exist. Yeah. And then I was eating 3 slices of pizza, which were maybe 1,000 more calories. Yeah. So I've only eaten 1,500 calories today.
But they saw the pizza and they assumed...
Right, and they assumed that was unhealthy, when realistically what was actually unhealthy in my day was the fact that I didn't eat enough.
You didn't eat enough?
I didn't eat near enough for my body size and what it takes for me to actually just live. So that's where health is not about size. It's about your habits. And not eating is actually one of my unhealthy habits that sits... I have lots of really great healthy habits, and not eating for me is actually one of my unhealthy habits. But right now, I'm the opposite way. Yeah. But right now, my healthy habits far outweigh my unhealthy habits. But everybody has unhealthy habits. That's what we seem to forget. Like, everybody has an unhealthy habit. There are very few people that don't have unhealthy habits in the majority of the world. You could be the healthiest, like, in terms of like your eating and your exercise, but still be a smoker. Like, that's an unhealthy habit. Yeah. You can still eat good amounts of food, but not consume enough water. That's an unhealthy habit. So like, there's plenty.
No one's fucking perfect.
Right. Nobody is. But when you look at health as this scale and you start putting things in the healthy category, once those healthy habits start to far outweigh your unhealthy habits, I consider myself healthy because that's where I'm sitting right now. So I'm moving in the direction of continuing to be healthy. And the issue is, for a lot of people, is that when they see that scale, they add on these things they consider healthy habits, like flash dieting and excessive amounts of cardio that you're not going to continue for your life. And if we're talking on a scale and you keep adding those in, so we'll go for me specifically because that'll make more sense and I won't offend anybody. For me, when I was talking about my health, when I was fat, losing weight, I added in 2 hours of cardio a day. I thought that was a healthy habit because that's perceived as a healthy habit. I was eating healthy foods, but the same thing every single day. So that's perceived in my mind at that time as a healthy habit. I was working out 7 days a week. I was considering that a healthy habit for me. I never ate any fats. I was considering that a healthy habit for myself. And then on top of the drugs that I was taking, I considered that I was losing weight was far healthier than the drugs that I was taking. Mm-hmm. So I had added in all of these things. I had lost all of this weight. And then after the competition, I stopped doing the cardio that I was doing. I stopped doing the drugs that I was taking to lose weight. I stopped. We're talking like medical drugs.
Right.
I want to be clear about that.
Yeah.
And I stopped exercising 7 times a week. And then I started gaining back all of my weight because all of these habits that I had perceived as healthy actually weren't. And they also weren't maintainable. Whereas if you view the things that I'm doing right now for myself, I'm exercising 3 times a week because I feel like it. I'm not doing any cardio because I don't like it, but I'm continuing to get my heart rate up. I walk every single day. I eat what I want when I want, but I don't binge eat anymore. All of these things that I've now added into my healthy column are maintainable things that I'm going to be able to continue to do for the rest of my life. Right. So my scale continues to stay balanced because nothing I've added to it to continue to be healthy is anything that I need to remove or short term.
Right.
Or so my scale will continue to stay this way because the things that I'm doing are going to be able to continue. And a lot of people outweigh their scale with quick things that they think are healthy. But actually aren't.
Are flash diets like the extreme diets? Is that when you said flash dieting?
I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm going to be very clear. I don't agree with dieting in general.
So
my opinion on how I feel about diets comes from the fact that I don't like them and my personal experience with them. And there are people who can get on a diet, lose weight, and then maintain that by adding in different things. Mm-hmm. But juice cleansing for a period of time strictly to lose weight is not something that's going to be maintainable. And if you are somebody who is not physically active and not doing any other habits for yourself, and this is your scale, we'll say your unhealthy habits are here, and you juice cleanse for a week and you lose 15 pounds, that juice cleanse comes out and you go back to where you were before because you haven't added anything else back into that healthy category for yourself. So there are people who will flash diet and do things like keto and lose 25 pounds, but they also have started exercising and they've also started doing things that are maintainable and can continue in their diet. And there are people who can do that, but the majority of human beings can't. It's just not a maintainable thing.
That's right.
So that's why I don't agree with diets, because a diet, an actual diet, is just what you eat on a regular basis. I have a diet.
Yeah, exactly.
It's what I eat every day. That's what a diet is.
Yeah.
A diet isn't something that you consume to lose weight. And diets, do I think diets are something that is important for health reasons for certain people? Absolutely. Diabetics have to have a different type of diet. People who need to lose weight because their hearts are truly working excessively, and if they don't lose weight, it's going to cause them harm. Medical reasons. Yes, diets in that case are important so that they can change the way that they're eating in order to fix those things and make their lifestyle healthier. But dieting to lose 25 pounds isn't going to be long term for a lot of people, because after that diet doesn't exist, because most fad diets aren't maintainable. Nothing that you have on your scale now is healthy. So you haven't added anything that's going to maintain you or keep you for long term. So it's just, and I hate diets. I do too. I hate diets mainly because I come from a background of binging. So if I restrict myself from things, then I binge. And then when I binge, then my whole world spirals, because, well, if I binge, then what does it even matter? Like that. And that's that is the mindset, and used to be my mindset. That is no longer my mindset, because I've stopped restricting myself from food. So I've been exercising 3 times 2 weeks. Well, this week I've moved my body 6 out of 7 days.
I was going to say,
I didn't choose I didn't,
because
that was
you
not,
like
I
doing
just
it.
was doing things because I enjoy doing it. But there was no pressure on me going to the gym. Actually, one of the, we'll say I moved my body 5 out of 7 days, because one of the times I went to the gym with good intentions, but when I got there, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. So I recorded myself doing something else. So, and that's perfectly fucking fine, but I'm moving my body regularly.
You're
so
doing that,
yeah. So I'm just doing it, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm not dieting, and I'm eating things that I want to eat, but I know that I'm losing inches. I know that I'm losing weight, not because I'm actually weighing myself, but because I know people are seeing differences. I hear, when you have a platform, you hear it on a regular basis, but because my clothes are fitting differently, and like there are things that are changing, but those things are changing as a natural repercussion for me to having healthier habits than I do unhealthy habits. They're not happening because I'm adding in healthy, what I think is healthy habits to lose weight. I'm just living my life with my scale outweighing in the healthy side of things, and a byproduct of that is that I'm losing inches.
Exactly.
So it's just,
that's such good advice though. Like not restricting yourself and finding healthy habits that you enjoy. Like I think so much of my issue with eating is like, I just need to learn to like vegetables. Like I just need to find recipes that I enjoy vegetables in.
Yeah, or
and
just
then I can maintain
foods that you enjoy, and
Yeah.
eating in general. Like, and here's the thing: I enjoy eating. So part of my motivation sometimes when I go to the gym is so that I don't feel that guilt.
Yeah.
And that's not always a great way to view it, but for me
Yeah.
it works. And it works for me and my body in general. And if I'm exercising and I'm moving my body, then the food that I'm eating really doesn't necessarily matter, because I'm taking care of my body and it's working properly to burn calories and to keep itself healthy.
Yeah.
So, but food, like same thing. Like I don't like broccoli. Like I'm not gonna fucking eat it. So like I'm gonna find a vegetable I do like, but like I'm not gonna eat broccoli. Some nights Scott will sit down, and bless his heart, but he only eats rice and beef, or rice and chicken, or rice and some nights he'll be like, I want to have this, and I'm like, no, I'm not having that. I'm gonna have a burger tonight, or I'm gonna have my own thing tonight. But because I know that if I restrict myself, then that changes how I feel, and that changes my relationship with food. And that's why I'm passionate about there are no bad foods, because when you view things as good and bad, then people start to feel shame around them. So if you feel shame around food, then you start hiding it, and this is coming from my own personal experience. You start hiding the things that you're eating. Same thing with your body. If your body is viewed as bad, you find ways to hide it. You find ways to not rebuild your relationship with it. So I don't view foods as bad, because they're not. Like, everybody's eating them. So like everybody is going out for most of the people go out and indulge in a burger, but it's not bad because I'm fat.
That's right.
It's not bad because I'm fat. It's bad if I'm choosing burgers every single day and I'm not moving my body and I'm in a terrible mental state and I'm not doing healthy things for myself. But me going out and enjoying my 7 burgers during Burger Week with my husband is fucking fun. That's what that is. It's not bad. I had a great time this year.
Oh, I didn't have one burger.
Stop.
Oh, did I have one? I think I had one. Literally one. I can't remember where it was.
Anybody who's listening from Burger Week next year, I would like to have them all.
Oh my gosh.
Get me on the
You could be the burger ambassador.
Yes,
person.
I will ambassador the fuck out of those burgers.
I had my dead friend had a burger named after him, and I went to the restaurant specifically to have that burger, and they happened to not have it that night, and it was the only burger I wanted to have.
Of course, we went to the Loose Cannon, which is also connected to Bitter End Kitchen. So we got both of their burgers, and that was the first night for Burger Week. So Scott got one and I got the other. And those were our two best burgers. Mine was topped with fucking pulled pork. It was so incredible. And his was like a chicken burger. But like,
so good.
Those are like, food is also experiences. Like, and people forget that. So when when you're depriving yourself of that stuff, you're also depriving yourself of certain experiences too, which like make you miss out on things, right? So I had to change my relationship with food and exercise and those types of things so that I wasn't missing out, and my relationship with my body so that I wasn't missing out on experiences.
Oh my God,
and it's like that's important. Like those things are important because, like I said, I could literally go out tomorrow and not come home, and why would I want to regret it? Like, why would I want to regret it? Because I was fat. Because I was still going to be fat in my coffin. So, like, it's not like that's... And then I'm going to be buried in the ground and I'm going to rot with this body. So, it's like, nothing's going to change. I'm just going to go exactly where everybody else goes. So... Literally choosing to be... Like, you're choosing yourself. You're choosing yourself. If I choose to be happy and I choose to put that out into the world, then people will hopefully start to live their lives sooner. Or if it's later for some women, which it happens to be, like they see me existing in their, in their 40s or in their 50s, then at least now they're living their life. Like that's what's important to me. Like if you see me in a crop top and that makes you want to buy one, and then you feel good in it, like then cool.
I can't recommend enough just following more women who aren't your size.
Just and every body type.
Appreciate and just expand your horizons a bit with what you think is beautiful.
Well, and I think that's why the body positivity movement is so important, because if it continues to grow and the kids that are growing up now are starting to, when magazines put fat women on the cover, when magazines put disabled bodies on the cover, and when those things start to become more normal, then our acceptance of those things become easier, and it becomes less cliche or bad. Like it becomes less bad, and that's why the body positivity movement is so important, is because there is so many things that bodies which are normal are held back from just because they're different than what society has led to believe as the normal. And like I said, I don't begrudge the people who only view, and everybody has some unlearning to do. Always. Everybody has some unlearning of habits and things that they've learned, but it's our job to like put in that work. And having body positivity platforms and self-love platforms helps people, like you said, surrounding yourself with those people helps you unlearn those biases that you have and those views that you have and the negative ways that you impact our systems that contribute to holding people back because of the color of their skin, or holding people back because of the size of their body. They exist. And when you are showcased different types of bodies, it becomes more acceptable for you to accept them. And that was also one of my things that I put in, like ways that I gained my confidence, was deleting anybody who made me feel bad about myself and only following people who made me feel good about who I was.
So key.
And it's super impactful. So if me following a whole bunch of women who preach self-love and create these communities that are accepting for me and showcases bodies of all different sizes and colors, and if me surrounding myself with those people make me feel more accepting of myself, there's absolutely no way that a regular straight size human surrounding themselves with plus size bodies and disabled bodies isn't going to become more acceptable. Because when you see what plus size bodies can do, and when you see what disabled bodies can do, and you understand that it's no different, it's just, it's adaptable, and like when you see that, then you really start to become more accepting of those things, because you see it, you've seen people do it, and just the world doesn't see fat people. The world doesn't see fat people on the front of magazines or in bathing suits. So when you do, it's inherently a natural reaction to be like, oh because it's different.
Not used to it. We're not
and
used to seeing it.
And like that's not necessary, but that's your job to unlearn. That's not my job. Exactly. That's your job to unlearn. And that's that's the important part of body positivity work. And body positivity, I have touched the surface on it.
Oh my gosh, this could be a series.
And I'm still learning about it. I'm just I'm a fat white woman. But body positivity goes far deeper into disabled bodies, and like the whole movement was started by Black women, and it like it is in itself is far more diverse than just me being a fat white woman. So like there's more that I'm still learning about, but I've made sure that my platform houses and I am following those bodies, and so that I can continue to learn and adapt and grow and unlearn biases and change that for myself and my community in general. And I make sure that I'm sharing their content, and I make sure I'm liking and commenting on their content, because the only way those voices are going to be amplified is by people with platforms sharing them and changing it. It's the same idea as like we if you put it into a marketing strategy with a magazine only puts on the cover what they know people will buy or see. So it makes sense to a business strategy to put a thin woman on the front of a magazine, because we assume that that's what society wants to see, because that's what the majority of people buy. But if all of a sudden fat women start becoming on the front of the magazines, people need to go and fucking buy them, because then it's what people want to see. And then again, that's why content like sharing and saving and commenting, that just keeps heightening the content, so it's in your face. And like once we get to the point where there's no discrepancy or discrimination against the magazines that we buy, and like that's just the easiest way to explain it, that then will that power of bodies be like evenly distributed and changed. But it's true, like sales for thin women and plus size bodies or thin women on magazines is just higher. Like it's higher. And how do you begrudge the magazine that? Because their job is to make money, right? So if that's what sells,
they're just doing their job,
right? But it's important that starts to change, because when you have as soon as there's fat women on every magazine, you gotta buy it, because there's no other
other magazine,
right? And that's where that starts. That's where it starts to change. Once the diversity starts to change and you have no other choice, well,
exactly. And I think that's important too, what you said about like liking photos and engaging with content, like because like even like I'm not in that. I can still buy clothes, like I'm a size large, like, but if I go in and I'm liking pictures of plus size models, and if I'm engaging with that, like it only is going to help them. Right. So I think that's important to note, that like we can all help this movement move forward.
Well, and I've done a thing on my post talking about this size of clothing, or Licenza posted a post outside of their shop that says, "We got you covered."
Yeah.
And then listed the sizings that they had. But they, in fact, did not have me covered, because I don't fit into their sizing. So I did a poll and I said, do you fit into this sizing? Yeah. And it was like, I think I have the stats somewhere. It was like pretty even. Like, the majority of people, it was like 56% did fit into it. Mm-hmm. But then I took it a step further and I said, do your family and friends fit into the sizing? And then it started to drastically, do all of your family and friends fit into the sizing? And then it started drastically changing, because that's important, because the brands that you support and the things that you do, that changes it. Like if you're supporting this brand and you're going there with your best friend who can't fit into their clothing, like we have to be aware of that. Like you have to know that that's not, going to be a comfortable situation for the people in your life. So, and just recognizing that you don't have to struggle with that stuff, but you have family and friends who you love. I think that's how I worded it. Yeah. Does everybody you love fit into the sizing?
Yeah, I remember that. And that's I voted yes. Yeah. I voted yes. Then I voted.
Yeah. So, and then that's like, okay, well, like put that into perspective, because it doesn't have everybody. It doesn't got you. So it might have you, and that might be okay with you, but does it have everybody in your life? Does every person you love going to walk by that sign and feel included? And that's not the case for those things. So, and it just takes those type of moments to be like, do you have plus sizing?
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
why have you chosen not to have that, or why do you not? And it's not like, you know, it's, I don't begrudge every brand that doesn't have plus sizing, because I'm also aware that it is not always an affordable thing for brand new businesses that start out and are moving, because obviously straight size clothing in terms of being available is far more available than plus size clothing. But I want to shout out La Femme Fatale in Bedford, because this is from there and this is from there, and it's La Femme Fatale Plus. So she started exclusively with just plus size clothing, but a few months ago she's now adapted her brand. She's continuing with La Femme Fatale Plus, but she's now adapted her brand to include all sizing.
Right.
So it's
she started with plus.
She started with plus and then has now adapted her clothing brand to include all sizing, because that is what do I think that plus size women deserve a store that they can walk into and just buy clothes for them? Yeah, I do. And when I went in there and it was just plus size clothing, that was cool because I knew. But I don't like the idea of not. For me, if I go there with my sister, like, I don't think that that's a fun experience for her to go to a plus size store with me and not have anything to buy.
Exactly, right.
So like, that's shitty.
Yeah.
So it's like the fact that plus size women can think about that for thin women. It's like, why aren't all thin women thinking about that for their plus size friends? And that's just something to be aware of. I'm not like, I don't want to like shove it down people's throats, but it's like, are you challenging brands? Do you send an email to say, hey, like, my best friend can't fit into your clothing? Yeah. Is it something that you're working on? Because if enough people ask for it, like, eventually brands are going to start to include it. Are they late? Fuck yeah. A lot of brands are like I did a brand deal with Lululemon and I got a lot of shit for this, but I did a brand deal with Lululemon, and they just started offering plus sizes above 14 in September. But that being said, I've worn a 12 in Lululemon at my heaviest. So because I like my workout gear to be super tight. So like I've always worn Lululemon, but they've never had clothing size or models on their site that ever made me feel welcome or included. Right. But then they started offering plus sizing, and my job as an advocate for body positivity and inclusion isn't to hate away the brands. Like, that is not my job, is to support them so that they can make the decision to be inclusive. And I think that, I mean, we're talking cancel culture here, but if you ask for it and a brand does it, then we gotta help support it and figure it out. Like, and I received a lot of hate for like, oh, but they were so uninclusive, and their CEO back in 2012 said that their clothing brand was not made for fat people. And that no longer their CEO anymore. Yeah. They were let go.
They're making changes.
They were let go, and now they're moving in the direction. And I realize that a lot of people are hurt by that. And they're like, oh, a lot of people are like, you're not going to make money off of plus size bodies now that you just decide to, capitalize on this. But we're asking for it. I'm asking for it. I'm asking for brands to include plus sizing. So when a brand goes out of their way to include plus sizing, I shouldn't say go out of there. When a brand finally makes the decision to include plus sizing, my job isn't to belittle them, because they've been being belittled. A lot of them have been. And it is to hope that they're going to continue to be inclusive and they're going to change things. Like, working with Lulu for me has been great, because I've challenged them along the way. When I got the brand, when I got like part of like my process for what I was going to post, I said, do you think that they could break that down and what's plus size and what's not? Do you think, how can I, like, I don't want to be like sending people to to their, specials, knowing that only part of my community is going to actually be able to indulge in it, because you only have one plus size item that's discounted. So it's like, and that's new to them. They need to think about that stuff and change it. But we also have to be aware, like, people were upset that they only offered it in black clothing, like a lot of their clothing only in black and only in their most popular style. So like, you can't walk into Lulu and get every single style in plus size. We also have to understand that they've never catered to our community in the first place. They don't even know if we're going to like their clothing yet. They don't know that. So they're not going to mass produce every single color and every single clothing line or in every single piece of item in plus size, because we're obviously proving to them that we don't trust them, because we don't. I don't trust every brand that comes out with a plus size. I don't trust that they've actually researched my body type and like, or just haven't made a regular shirt bigger. Like it's a different type of thing. But I've been wearing Lulu, and I've been in that brand for so long. So when they finally did, and they've been great. Like they have been great, and they have wonderful customer service. And the minute I walked into the store, I bought my mom a pair of pants for Christmas. And I walked in to pick them up, and the girl was like, "Oh, what did you buy?" And I was like, "I actually bought my mom a pair of pants for Christmas." I said she'd never worn Lulu, and like the lady kind of paused, and I was like, "She's plus size," and she was like, "Yeah, we're late to the party on that, but like we're excited to like get plus size," and like was apologizing to me, and like that is how you make amends. Like let's not hide the fact that it's 2020 and you're just coming out with plus sizing. Let's be apologetic about it and put it out there, because they didn't have to. Lululemon is making Lululemon is making enough money that they don't need to put out plus size clothing but people have been asking for it, and they've done it, and they're taking a lot of shit because it's late, but they're doing it. There are plenty of brands that you can walk into in the mall that don't have plus sizing and still don't have plus sizing.
And don't have a plan for it.
Right. And aren't planning on it. It's not on
their radar at all.
So I'm not going to hold a grudge against a brand who wants to finally include me. I'm going to hold my grudge against the brands that haven't taken that step yet and aren't planning on it, because they don't care. Oh my God. Right? And there's a difference. There's a difference between a small business that doesn't have enough money to include me than a big corporation. Right, a big corporation that just has no intent in doing it.
And they could do it, and they're choosing not to.
Right. So it's a very different dynamic, but it's
that's wild.
It's crazy.
Alicia, we're hitting 3 hours almost.
I know, good for us.
Welcome to the Rogan Length Podcast. I usually end on 2 questions.
Okay.
And I feel like this whole episode has been about the first, but you can summarize it a bit.
Okay.
So 2 questions, because we're all about self-improvement. Mm-hmm. Some things that you love about yourself.
Okay.
Which we've been over a lot.
Yeah.
Because you're awesome. And something that you don't necessarily love about yourself, but that you're working on.
Okay.
You posted some stories today that had that template.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
So I really love, for me specifically, I one of the things that I really love about myself is my humor.
Yes.
And just creating an environment that is funny and safe and welcoming for people after they've had a tough day. So like I think that that's something that I love about myself, is making people laugh. I love that I can do that by just being who I am.
I'm gonna stop you there, because I heard somewhere, I don't know if it was through Caitlin or if it was through something you posted, that you want to try stand-up. So I actually have a gift for you.
Oh God, what is it?
It is a joke book.
Oh
so
my God.
This is, you probably have lots of journals, but this is specifically for comedy.
Okay.
To write stand-up jokes.
Me and my husband write jokes in our heads all of the time of like how I would open a comedy show, or what I would say, or what I would do.
You put it in here.
Okay, this is so nice.
So that you can start that goal in motion.
Yeah.
Because I think you would be great at it. And something that helped me in starting was someone gave me a joke book. So that's what I'm doing for you.
Thank you. This is the best. It's so funny because I just haven't taken that step. And I think I'm just like so hard on myself when it comes to like, am I going to be funny? Like I know people think I'm funny, but like when it's not the same. My unique content is not the same as getting on a stage and actually delivering jokes.
But you know what? Start isolating it. Take those funny things, write them as jokes in there. Keep it separate.
To tell stories, so like that's kind of like Dane. I'm gonna say Dane Cookish. Like that's how I see me, like getting on stage and just telling funny stories about my life experiences or things, and like you know,
you would have so much to
making
pull
them
from.
over dramatic and, you know, relatable content. But yeah, that's definitely something that I do want to do. So I appreciate
you
that.
gotta get out there and do it. And this is specifically for jokes.
It's also terrifying because people know who I am now. So I feel like going to your first open mic and having nobody knows you makes it so much easier to just like bomb or not do well. But now I'm so terrified because like what if I do what if I do bomb and there's like an audience full of people who just expect me to be so funny. So I'm just, if I ever do, and for anybody listening, if I ever do an open mic, I will not be fucking telling anybody.
You know what you should do is you should just like if you ever just, well, I mean,
it'll be like friends and family, and maybe like,
here's what I'll say, take some time and like work on some jokes. When you feel like you're at a point where you could take some stuff to a stage, like let me know and I'll figure out like a good mic for you to do. Like that would like
with like
wouldn't be overwhelming. Well, actually the go ups are good for that. So there's these mics that are like you just show up and you go up, and so there's no posters, there's no lineups that are pumped out. Yeah. And like the first set that I did was at a coffee shop for like 10 people. Yeah. Like 10 strangers. And it's like low pressure, it's not a big deal. And then there's other shows you can do that you can actually get booked on where it will have your name, but there's all these places in Halifax that you could do it.
Show up and go up. Yeah.
And then that way, just if people know you, like it's that mania, it'll just be like, holy shit.
Well, like don't get me wrong, like I actually do. There's like a happy medium. I would like people there because if I'm funny, I'd like to hear people laugh at it.
You need an audience.
If there's not any people there, then there's no
exactly.
It's not the same. So obviously, learning delivery is important, regardless of if there are people there. But still, like actually, like having people laugh at your jokes is like the whole part of comedy.
And that's the thing. So yeah, I want you should, if I can be your comedy accountability person,
I totally will.
I will check in on you. Cause like, I gotta figure out like this is episode 196. Like I have episode 200 coming up and 4-year anniversary. And I'm probably going to be doing a live event for that show.
Oh, cool.
So I'm just saying, if you want to be involved with the live show, you could do some stuff and it could be low pressure. Maybe not stand up. Maybe it's just you come up and you help like something fun you could do.
Just be involved.
I just think like, you got to do it. And you're so funny, and that is something you should be proud of yourself for and love yourself for.
I'm excited. Okay, and then
something that you're working on.
I am working on unlearning biases that I have that I didn't know I had. Yeah, and like that's been a big one for me because especially with my platform, like I say I'm a good person and I say I'm an ally and I say that I am these things, but I am doing an online course right now on anti-racism, and like I have the first thing that I learned in this podcast or in this she does have a podcast, but her name's Motivate, and she has a podcast and she has courses. So I booked and paid for this course, and it's a replay of her teaching it. And one of the things in it is that being anti-racist is not an identity, and like you can't call yourself an ally because like when you identify as something, it takes away the work. Because like for instance, I identify as a woman. I don't have to try to be one. I don't have to put in work to do that. I identify I am white, so like I don't have to work to be white. So when you identify as being anti-racist and you identify as being an ally, then it becomes part of who you are, and the work that is behind it then goes away for a lot of people.
That's interesting.
And she has been blowing my mind in terms of like the biases that I do have and just anti-racism in general. And it has been like a huge learning curve for me because I think I'm a good person and I think that I do these things, and my motivation for doing them and really unlearning a lot of stuff. So that has been my biggest, where I'm going to spend a lot of my time going forward is like, is just unlearning some of the biases that I do have and just learning how to properly support my community. Like I have I have a big diverse community, and I want to make sure that I always continue to make it a safe space for them by using my voice when it's appropriate and amplifying a voice when it needs to be, and just not saying anything when that's important. But that's something that I've really realized is that I do have biases. Even though you think you're a good person, like you still definitely have biases and motives that are so self-centered that don't actually center the people who are hurting. So
oh my gosh, that's something everyone should do.
Yeah, I do agree.
Everyone should do that. But I
think I'm in a place of privilege right now in a sense that I have a flexible schedule that can allow me to learn that stuff. But with that allows me to learn that stuff and then send that to my community so that they can focus on those highlights if they, don't necessarily have the flexibility, but it's something that everybody needs to make time for. And I'm 31 and I'm just making time for it. So I think that that's something that I definitely need to like work on and make part a forefront of like my brand and who I am, and so that I can continue to like learn and grow and help others in the same space. So yeah, it's been a rough learning curve for me, and that is coming from, again, I'm very lucky to be learning it this way, because the people learn it by experiencing it, and I'm learning it by just hearing people who have experienced it. So
exactly,
yeah, it's been very like eye-opening, and like I've just been like spitting facts to Scott.
Yeah.
So anytime I learn something, I'm like, did you know?
You should.
Or like, did you know? Or did you? And just like trying to reiterate it, like the way I learn is like coaching and telling others about it. So like that's what I've been doing, but that's definitely something. So I'm going to continue to share those courses and the things that I've been doing, and hopefully by next year I'll be in a completely different mindset for it, and it'll be something that I'm proud of and not necessarily something that I still need to work on. I mean, I think it's dynamic and you always have to work on it, but I think by then I'll be proud of the work that I put in for it. So
absolutely,
I'm so excited to put jokes in this.
I'm excited to see you at a mic, and I better. Alicia, I just can't thank you enough for coming on and talking with me. I apologize
for talking for 3 hours.
Never.
I did, however, look at one of them, and it was 2 hours and 33 minutes. So it's like,
long form. I've never said that it's not long form.
And you can, listen, if you need to put this in 2 pieces, you totally can. But I think we talked about some really good things.
I adore you. I think that you are only you've already done so much, but you're only getting started, and we are going to see more from you, and you are going to go.
You called my TED Talk.
Your rise, like you're an educator. Like, you realize that, right? Like, it's not just content creator. Like you're educating people. You're educating people.
Are learning.
Yeah.
Like I do hope that people are learning, and I hope that they view it as that too, like as an opportunity to learn from me, because you don't need to have insecurities to follow my platform. I got a really cool message from a dad, because that was a whole other layer I was going to ask you about, which was like the men's side of things.
Yeah, you'll come back on, right?
Yeah, heck yeah. Heck yes.
Can you come back? Okay. Yeah. Because I'd love to have you back on. This was like the tip of the iceberg. I was
also going to tell you that I would totally love coming on to interview, like, and being like a co-host or something. Please? For like a random, just a random time.
I would love that, Alicia. Like, you have no idea, because I adore you, and you're welcome here anytime. I'll probably reach out again.
Heck yeah. I was just thinking it would be cool for like the focus not to be on me, for me to come talk to other people too, because
I would have put you. Yeah, it
would be cool. Yeah.
And I'd love to actually, if Scott's ever down to do another podcast again, I'd love to have you guys on as a couple as well. Valentine's Day. He
totally would have been perfectly fine for this, but he is weird.
Can I claim you guys for Valentine's Day?
Let's see.
Well, like around that time.
He said yo at 9:21. It's 11:46.
Tell him that you just did the Halifax version of Joe Rogan.
You want to come? He loves Joe Rogan, so he'll understand.
Well, I'd love to have you guys on as a couple.
I think it was good content for people to like listen to for a long time. So it's not too bad.
And listen, I view long podcasts like desserts. Okay, so little short podcasts are great because they're like cupcakes.
I saw this on your thing.
But a long form podcast is like a motherfucking ice cream cake that you pick away at. So in my mind, I don't cut off good conversation. And so I
think a lot of people just like to listen to good conversation anyway.
That's just it.
So I think that's why. And I enjoy talking, so there's never going to be a lack of conversation here.
This feels like a dumb question to ask you, but can you let everyone know where to follow you?
Okay, so you can follow
me. And if you're not, where the fuck are you? And what? If you don't already know who Alicia is, you're probably not fun.
Maybe. Although my husband is not fun, and he does follow me. So, okay, so you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok.
Fuck yeah.
At Alicia Mccarvell. And then I also have a YouTube that we are going to be continuing and actually doing this year. And it is the Mccarvell. So that content's actually going to be strictly Scott and I. So like us doing things and existing.
I don't know. I don't have a reality show
you know,
yet.
like keeping up with the Kardashians, but it's going to be like,
better. Much better.
Keeping up with the Kardashian. We need to find keeping up with the Kardashian.
What rhymes?
Like my making time for the Mccarvells. Something.
Making memories.
Making memories with the Mccarvells or something along those lines. But that's the content you can expect on.
I'm excited for you. I would watch that reality show. I think you guys should have a show.
So many people are like, you should have a reality show, and I completely agree, because if you could actually see what my husband was like, not on camera.
I mean, I just love watching you guys. You just crack me the fuck up. Like the shower thing that you posted, and like, oh my god, the phone. Like you waiting for him to get home to go get your phone. Oh my god, it killed me.
He just like, and that is our life. Like that's the fun part, is that people are like, you're so funny, and I'm like, this is literally just us living. And that's been the coolest part about our platform, is that we haven't had to do anything like extensive to like not be ourselves or not be who we are to gain it. So that's also the most surreal part, is like when people meet us, that was always our goal, is like, if you meet me in person, I would like for it to be the same. And it is. When you see me online. A little bit more awkward, because like people are like, oh, I'm so awkward. I'm like, you're awkward. I'm awkward. I don't know what to say when people meet me. Like when people are like, oh, this is so cool. And I'm like, is it? Am I?
I know. I remember messaging Caitlin being like, oh my god, Alicia's doing my podcast. And she's like, it's not a big deal. She's a damn bitch. Like,
and it's so funny. That's why I always tease my friends, because I'm like, I can just fucking imagine. But it's like when and that's the cool part about like social media and gaining a platform in general, and just like the pedestal that people put you on. Like, I'm just a regular human being that happens to have a platform with lots of people that I get to be myself, and I get to share that. But like, I am who I am, and I am authentic, and that's been really cool with all of the stuff that's been shared, is that people who have been in my life commenting up, because that can be scary. But like the majority, I really haven't seen anything too bad or bad at all, honestly, where like my content will go out or be shared and people will be like, she's just like this in person, or I went to high school with her and she's really great. And that makes me happy, because that's your goal. It's a good testament to who I am, because I feel like I've been this person for the majority of my life, and then now all of a sudden it's just like hyper out there, in your face. But all of my friends tease me all the time that their friends will be like, you know Alicia Mccarvell, and they'll be like, yeah, she's not that cool. And I'm like, that is a proper response, because that's what I tell people. So you want to know
what? No one thinks they're cool. Like, this is just like a common thing that I've realized. It's just like, no one thinks they're cool, but we're all cool to somebody.
Yes,
you know,
100%.
Like, and you're cool to millions.
Well, my impact on my friends is very different than my impact on other people too. Like, you never forget. Like, my friends and my family see me all the time. I assure you that you must be able to gain from my content that I'm an overwhelming human being. So, overwhelming human being is a great way. Have to like digest me all the time. I am not this like person who can just like go choose how much you digest me. Like, God, my husband is a good testament of that. Like, he has no choice. But like, it's pretty cool. But I am just a down bitch.
You're a down bitch.
I'm just a down bitch. Like, say hi.
Yeah, I don't know why I was so intimidated. I think it's just like your following is so big that it's hard to comprehend someone.
I also think that we think that people who have those platforms aren't normal people. Like, I don't. But I'm sure that if I had a conversation with some of the people who I follow, it would be a normal conversation. And I know that a lot of the people who I do follow on social media in general, like in other, like the Burst Papaya has 1.7 million followers on Instagram, which is massive on Instagram, and like, she's a genuinely kind human being, but
right? You
just see somebody with that massive that massive like platform and just assume that they're like celebrity status,
and they're like, really, they won't talk to you, or like, really,
I am just the bitch that gets home and takes her bra off and just enjoys my life. So
I love it. Well, oh my gosh, again, thank you so much.
So
So TikTok, Instagram, follow her. Obviously, on YouTube, I will link to all those things. And thank you so much, Alicia, for this. This was just absolutely epic. You get to end the episode, though, by doing a bell ring, and you better make it good because I record these at the end of every year and do a compilation.
Oh God, I saw your compilation.
Woo!
I think I should have hit it
With the joke
with my
book.
joke book.